Welcome back to ZE Coins. If you're holding on to a 1981 D Washington quarter, you might be sitting on a gold mine. What if I told you that this seemingly ordinary coin from your pocket change could be worth up to $84,999? That's right, today we're diving deep into the fascinating world of the 1981 D Mint Mark Washington quarter and what makes it such a hot topic in the coin collecting world. Now, before you toss your change into the jar or feed that quarter into a vending machine, listen up. The Washington Quarter series started in 1932, but by 1981 things got interesting, especially at the Denver Mint. That's where the D-Mint mark comes from. The Denver Mint struck millions of quarters that year, over 600 million to be exact. So how could one possibly be worth a small fortune? It all comes down to rarity, condition, and collector demand. Not all 1981 D quarters are created equal. Most are worth just face value 25 cents, but a very small number, struck in pristine condition or with striking errors, have sold for jaw-dropping prices at auctions. So let's break it down. First, let's talk about mint state condition. If your 1981 D quarter is graded by a professional service like PCGS or NGC, and it comes back as MS67 or higher, you're in elite territory. These top-grade coins are extremely rare, even more so because they were never intended to be saved by collectors. Most were circulated heavily, which means finding one in mint condition is like finding a needle in a haystack at an auction. In recent years, one 1981 D Washington quarter graded MS67 plus sold for over $84,000. That's right, over 84 grand for a single quarter. Think about it. You could flip through a jar of coins and uncover something that could change your life. That is the magic of coin collecting. But what makes some of these quarters worth more than others? Well, let's look at a few key factors. First is strike quality. A strong full strike with sharp details is highly sought after. Look at the hair detail on George Washington, the clarity of the lettering, and the sharpness of the eagle on the reverse. Second is luster and color. Brilliant uncirculated coins with their original mint luster are worth more than dull worn ones. A coin with rainbow toning or unique natural coloration can command a premium. Third are errors and varieties. Some 1981 D quarters have been found with off-center strikes, double dies, or die cracks. Any of these errors can make your coin stand out to collectors and push its value into the thousands. Now let's talk about the market today. As of right now, top-grade 1981 D quarters are in hot demand. While a typical circulated one might fetch only its face value, a gem quality or error coin could bring in hundreds to thousands of dollars, depending on the grade and rarity. The highest known sale of a 1981 D quarter was recorded at $84,999. This wasn't just any coin, it was virtually flawless, a true collector's dream. So, how do you know if you have one of these valuable coins? Here's what you should do. Check your change. Look closely at any 1981 D quarters you have. Use a magnifying glass or a loupe and look at the details. If it looks nearly untouched, sharp, and shiny, you might be onto something. Take it to a professional grading service and have it authenticated. A small investment there could lead to a major payday. And don't forget to look for errors. Even the smallest mistake made during the minting process can add massive value. A double die reverse or a clipped planchet could be the difference between a common coin and a collector's jackpot. Collectors are always on the hunt for these gems, and the value keeps climbing as more people enter the hobby and fewer pristine coins remain available in the wild. So if you're a coin enthusiast, a treasure hunter, or just someone who likes finding value in everyday things, this is your sign to check those quarters. The 1981 D might just be your ticket to an unexpected windfall. We are diving deep into one of the most fascinating and valuable quarters in American coin history. This is the story of the 1983 P Mint Mark quarter-dollar coin, a coin that might look ordinary at first glance but could actually be worth up to $76,999. So grab your magnifying glass and let us explore how a simple pocket change coin became a collector's dream. It all starts in 1983. America was still recovering from a deep recession. Interest rates were sky high, jobs were scarce, and coin collecting was at a low point. The U.S. Mint did not produce any uncirculated sets in 1982 or 1983 due to budget cuts and lack of demand. That one decision changed the future value of many coins minted during those years, especially the 1983 P quarter. Now you might be asking, what makes the 1983 P quarter so special? Let me break it down. The P stands for the Philadelphia Mint, and in 1983 Philadelphia struck over 674 million quarters. So you would think there are plenty of them. Right, wrong, because they were not included in mint sets and most went directly into circulation. Nearly all of them were damaged or worn down from use. Finding one in pristine condition is extremely rare, and this is where collectors go wild. A high-grade 1983 P quarter with no signs of wear, especially one graded mint state 67 or higher by major grading companies, is almost impossible to find. This is what makes it so valuable. The higher the grade, the rarer the coin, and with rarity comes Value collectors are willing to pay massive amounts for top-quality examples. In fact, a near-perfect example of the 1983 P quarter recently sold at auction for $76,999. Yes, you heard that right, nearly $77,000 for a quarter that originally cost just 25 cents. That is an increase of over 300,000% over the past 2 decades. The value of this coin in top condition has skyrocketed from just a few $100 in the early 2000s to over $10,000 in 2015, and now reaching nearly $77,000 in recent sales. But here is the catch: only a handful of these coins exist in that conditions. So how do you know if you have one? Start by checking the date. Look for the 1983 and make sure it has a P mint mark right above the word Liberty on the front. Next, check the condition. If it looks heavily worn or scratched, it is likely worth face value, but if it appears crisp, sharp, and has a glossy finish, you might want to have it graded by a professional service. The top 2 grading companies in the US are PCGS and NGC. Submitting your coin for grading is the only way to get an official mint state score, and that score determines the market value of your coin. Even a grade of MS65 can fetch hundreds or even thousands of dollars, but anything MS67 and above is where the big money lies. Many coin dealers agree that the 1983 P quarter is one of the most underrated coins in circulation, and that is because most people still do not know how rare it truly is. Some have even called it the sleeper hit of modern coin collecting. Imagine finding one in your change at the grocery store or inside an old jar at home. That tiny metal disc could change your life. It is like a hidden lottery ticket waiting to be discovered. As of now, in 2025, the current market value of a certified MS67 1983 P quarter stands at around $76,999, and with demand continuing to rise, the price is only expected to go higher. Collectors and investors are constantly searching for top-grade examples. The supply is so limited that bidding wars break out at every major coin auction. Cut to final thoughts. So the next time you see a 1983 P quarter, do not just toss it in the tip jar. Take a closer look, because that quarter might just be your ticket to a small fortune. Rare coins are more than just metal. They are pieces of history, stories from the past, and sometimes they are worth a lot more than meets the eye. We're diving deep into the story behind the 1986 D Mint Mark Washington quarter dollar, a coin that most people overlook in their pockets but could actually be worth tens of thousands of dollars. Yes, you heard that right. One of these ordinary-looking coins sold for an eye-watering $68,999. So buckle up, because this is going to be a fascinating ride through history, rarity, and the red-hot coin market. Let's begin by going back to the year 1986. Ronald Reagan was President of the United States. The Challenger disaster shocked the nation, and in Denver, the U.S. Mint was quietly producing millions of Washington quarters. In fact, over 500 million 1986 quarters were struck at the Denver Mint that year. With such a high mintage, most people would assume there's nothing special about them. But as with all coins, the devil is in the details. The Washington quarter had already been in circulation for over 50 years by 1986. Designed by John Flanagan in 1932 to honor the bicentennial of George Washington's birth, the quarter features a bold left-facing portrait of our first president. On the reverse, you'll find a heraldic eagle, a powerful symbol of American strength and freedom. Now here's where it gets interesting. Although the majority of these coins are common and worth only face value in circulation, there are rare exceptions. In the world of coin collecting, condition is everything. A quarter fresh off the mint, never touched by human hands, stored in pristine condition, is known as a mint state coin. And mint state coins are graded on a scale from 1 to 70. The higher the number, the more perfect the coin. One particular 1986 D quarter, graded mint state 68, recently shocked the numismatic world when it sold at auction for $68,999. Yes, a coin that could have been used to buy a soda back in the day is now valued higher than some brand new cars. So what makes this specific coin so valuable? Let's break it down. First is rarity in condition. Out of the hundreds of millions struck, only a handful exist in such flawless mint state condition. Most coins get scratched, nicked, or show wear from circulation. Finding a 1986 D quarter in near-perfect condition is like finding a needle in a haystack. The coin that sold for nearly $70,000 had full luster, razor-sharp details, and not a single blemish visible to the naked eye or even under magnification. Second is the grading. This particular coin received a Mint State 68 designation from a major grading service, like PCGS or NGC. Coins graded this high are often the finest known examples of their kind. In fact, only a few exist at that grade level, making them extremely desirable to high-end collectors. Third is market demand. The coin market has exploded in recent years, with more investors and collectors entering the scene. Rare coins are being seen not just as collectors' items, but also as assets, historical pieces with increasing financial value. And when a bidding war erupts over a high-grade rarity, the sky's the limit. Now you might be wondering, could you have a valuable 1986 D quarter sitting in your pocket change or old coin jar? Here's what to look for. Flip the coin and check the mint mark on the right side of Washington's ponytail. If you see a small D, it means it was minted in Denver. Next, check the coin's condition. Is it shiny, free of scratches, and still has sharp details on Washington's hair, the eagle's feathers, and the lettering? Then you might want to consider getting it professionally graded. But be cautious. Most 1986 D quarters are only worth face value, 25 cents, even in decent condition. However, uncirculated coins in brilliant condition can fetch between $10 and $50. In extremely high grades like Mint State 66 or 67, the value can jump into the hundreds. But it's only at the top, Mint State 68 or higher, where the big money lives. So how do you protect and preserve your coins? Always handle coins by the edges. Store them in protective holders or coin flips. And if you believe you have a gem quality coin, send it to a reputable grading company for evaluation. That's the only way to truly unlock its market value. As of now, in 2025, the current market value of a top-graded 1986 D Washington quarter can reach $68,999 or more, depending on demand and availability. And that's not speculation, it's based on real auction results. To wrap things up, the 1986 D Washington quarter is a reminder that even modern coins can hold tremendous value. Not because of their age or rarity in mintage, but because of condition, certification, and collector demand. Keep your eyes open. Check your change. Because you never know. The next big money coin might be hiding right in your pocket. We're diving into one of the most exciting stories in modern American coinage, the 1987 P Mint Mark Washington quarter dollar. If you have some old change lying around or you've inherited a coin collection, you'll definitely want to check if you have this rare and potentially very valuable coin in your stash. Now let's travel back to the year 1987. This was the tail end of the Cold War, Ronald Reagan was president, and the stock market experienced the dramatic Black Monday crash. But while the world was watching politics and Wall Street, the United States Mint in Philadelphia was quietly producing one of the coins that would later become a hidden treasure among collectors, the 1987 Washington quarter with the P Mint mark. Most people don't think twice about quarters from the 80s. After all, these coins were made in large quantities and used every day for decades. But the 1987 P quarter has become famous not because of how common it was, but because of a few rare versions that command incredible prices in the collector's market today. Let's break it down. Over 582 million Washington quarters were struck in Philadelphia in 1987. That's a huge number. So what makes this particular coin so valuable? The answer lies in a combination of factors: mint errors, condition, grading, and collector demand. First, let's talk about mint errors. These are coins that were produced with mistakes during the minting process. Could be double dies, off-center strikes, clipped planchets, or even wrong metal compositions. Error coins are highly sought after, and some of the most extreme examples can fetch tens of thousands of dollars at auction. Second, and maybe even more important, is condition. In the coin world, this is known as the grade of a coin. Coins are graded on a scale from 1 to 70, with 70 being a flawless coin known as Mint State or MS70. Most quarters in your pocket are heavily circulated and might grade between 10 and 30. But a 1987 P quarter in MS67 or MS68 is incredibly rare. And guess what? It's those high-grade examples that can bring in serious money. Now here's where things get exciting. One of the highest-graded 1987 P Washington quarters ever sold reached a jaw-dropping price of $60,999. That's right, $60,999 for one quarter. That's 124,000 times its face value. Why so much? It all comes down to scarcity at that grade. There may be millions of 1987 P quarters, but only a handful exist in pristine, untouched condition. Collectors with deep pockets are willing to pay top dollar to own one of the best examples known to exist. But it's not just about one lucky coin. Even if you have a 1987 P quarter in great shape, it could still be worth hundreds or even thousands. For example, quarters graded MS65 or higher regularly sell in online auctions for $100 to $500, depending on their eye appeal and overall condition. So how do you know if your quarter is worth money? Here's what to look for. First, check for the P mint mark on the front of the coin, just to the right of Washington's ponytail. Then look closely for any signs of mint errors, such as doubling of the letters or numbers, missing elements, or unusual shapes. Finally, consider the coin's overall shine, luster, and condition. If your quarter looks promising, consider getting it graded by a professional service like PCGS or NGC. These companies authenticate and grade coins for collectors and dealers. A high grade from one of these services could boost your coin's value significantly. As of today, the market for rare coins, especially quarters from the 1980s, is hot. Collectors are rediscovering modern-era coins, and values are climbing. The 1987 P quarter has proven that even relatively new coins can bring in old-school money. Before we wrap up, here's a quick tip. Always check. We are diving into one of the most surprising stories in the world of modern American coinage, that is the 1994 P mint mark Washington $quarter coin, a seemingly ordinary quarter that might just be hiding in your pocket change and could be worth up to a jaw-dropping $52,999. That's right, you heard me correctly, so sit tight, grab your magnifying glass, and let's uncover the story behind this fascinating coin to understand why the 1994 P Washington quarter is so special. We first need to look at its background. The Washington quarter has been in circulation since 1932, when it was introduced to commemorate the 200th birthday of George Washington. It became a permanent part of American coinage due to its popularity and has undergone many changes over the decades, but in 1994 something curious happened. Now let's talk mint marks. The letter P on the coin stands for the Philadelphia Mint, which produced the highest number of quarters in that year. In fact, over 1.1 billion Washington quarters were minted in Philadelphia in 1994, so with such a high mintage you might be wondering why any of them would be valuable. Well, here's where things get interesting. Not all coins are created equal, and some rare errors or ultra-high-grade examples can skyrocket in value. In the case of the 1994 P quarter, collectors and grading experts have discovered several coins with unique errors, striking flaws, or pristine conditions that make them stand out from the restone. Of the most desirable examples of the 1994 P quarter is a coin graded MS67 or higher by PCGS or NGC. That MS stands for mint state, and the number indicates the quality of the strike and preservation. On a scale of 1 to 70, a coin graded MS67 or above is considered nearly perfect, with full details, sharp edges, and virtually no contact marks. Now here's the exciting part. A 1994 P Washington quarter graded MS67 recently sold for a mind-blowing $52,999 at auction. That's a massive return for a coin that originally had a face value of just 25 cents. What makes the sale even more astonishing is that most people would never guess this coin could be worth that much, especially if it was just lying unnoticed in a drawer or mixed in with change. So what should you look for if you want to find a valuable 1994 P quarter? First, inspect the coin for its condition. A coin must be in exceptional shape to reach high mint state grades. Look for luster, no visible wear, and strong details, especially on Washington's hair and the eagle on the reverse side. Second, pay attention to any possible mint errors. Some 1994 P quarters have been found with double die obverse, off-center strikes, or misaligned dies. These kinds of minting mistakes are highly sought after by collectors and can greatly increase a coin's value. Third, it's always wise to get a potentially valuable coin authenticated and graded by a reputable third-party service like PCGS or NGC. This professional certification not only confirms the coin's condition but also gives buyers confidence when bidding on or buying the coin at high-value auctions. Now let's talk about the current market demand. The coin collecting world is hotter than ever, with rare and unusual coins bringing in top dollar online and at live auctions. With inflation rising and precious metals gaining popularity, collectors are turning to numismatics as both a hobby and an investment. That means coins like the 1994 P quarter in top condition are seeing stronger interest and climbing prices. And here's something to keep in mind: you don't need to be a lifelong numismatist to strike it rich with coins. Anyone with a keen eye and a little bit of knowledge can make an exciting discovery that includes you going through your pocket change, piggy banks, and old coin jars. You never know what treasures you might find. So to wrap it all up, the 1990 for P Washington quarter may seem common, but in the right condition it is Anything but ordinary. With its impressive potential value of over $52,000, this little piece of American currency is turning heads and making headlines. If you have one of these quarters, check it carefully. You could be holding a small fortune in your hands. We're diving deep into one of the most surprising finds in modern American coinage, the 1997 P Mint Mark Washington quarter. You might be thinking it's just a regular quarter, right? But what if I told you that some rare versions of this coin have fetched tens of thousands of dollars at auctions? That's right, some of these 25-cent coins are turning heads in the collector world, and one example has even reached an astonishing value of $40,999. Stick around as we explore everything you need to know about the 1997 P Washington quarter, its history, varieties, errors, and why certain examples are so incredibly valuable. Let's start with a bit of history. The Washington quarter was first introduced in 1932 to commemorate the 200th anniversary of George Washington's birth. It was never intended to be a permanent coin, but due to its popularity, it stayed in production. By the time we get to 1997, the Washington quarter had become a staple of American currency. The Philadelphia Mint, marked with the letter P, produced millions of these coins in that year. Now you might be wondering, if millions were made, how could any of them be worth thousands? That's where things get interesting. Although the vast majority of 1997 P quarters are only worth face value, there are rare examples with unique characteristics or minting errors that collectors go crazy for. These anomalies include double dies, off-center strikes, and coins struck on the wrong planchet. A double die error means that the coin shows a noticeable doubling in the design elements such as the date, lettering, or Liberty inscription. These are not common, and when found in high condition, they can be worth serious money. Another major factor in value is the coin's condition. Most coins in circulation suffer from wear and tear, but if a 1997 P Washington quarter is found in uncirculated or mint state condition, especially one graded MS67 or higher by a professional grading service like PCGS or NGC, its value can increase dramatically. In fact, the highest auction price ever recorded for a 1997 P Washington quarter was nearly $41,000. That coin was in pristine condition, with an exceptional strike, beautiful luster, and no visible flaws. It's the type of coin that collectors dream about. Now let's talk about current market trends. As of today, the demand for high-grade modern coins is on the rise. Collectors and investors are paying top dollar for coins that are rare, flawless, and certified. If you have a 1997 P Washington quarter, it's worth taking a closer look. Check for any unusual markings, errors, or perfect mint condition. You might be holding onto a hidden treasure. Even coins without major errors but in MS66 or MS67 condition can sell for hundreds or even thousands of dollars depending on market demand. And here's a tip: look closely at coins you receive in change or sitting in your old coin jars. You'd be amazed at what turns up. Many people have no idea that something sitting in their kitchen drawer could be worth thousands. It has happened before, and it can happen again. Now, how do you find out what your coin is worth? First, inspect it with a magnifying glass or loupe. Look for doubling, missing letters, off-center strikes, or strange textures. If you suspect it's something special, consider sending it to a professional grading company for certification. Coin grading can make a huge difference in value, especially when it comes to selling to serious collectors or at auctions. So what's the bottom line? Most 1997 P Washington quarters are just regular pocket change. But a few rare, mint state or error varieties can bring in serious money. And I mean life-changing money. A single coin selling for $40,000 is proof that these small treasures still exist in the wild. Keep your eyes open, educate yourself, and always double-check your change. Thanks for watching. If you found this video helpful or fascinating, make sure to like it and subscribe to the channel. We're always digging into the world of coins, rare currency, and hidden numismatic gems. Have you ever come across a rare coin in your own collection or in circulation? Let us know in the comments below. Until next time, keep collecting and good luck hunting.